Hello, beautiful people. My name is Celia Zengele. If you're coming across this YouTube channel for the first time, thank you. Stay and watch this video till the end. Please remember to subscribe. If you are a return subby, you are highly appreciated. Thank you so much for keep coming back and keep supporting me and spending your data and airtime. And the time is highly appreciated and it's not going unnoticed. Thank you. Today I want to give you some background into my life because I haven't been well, so I want to share some discomfort in my life. But I would like to give you a background. I'm not going to give you the whole story yet. I'll give you the story bit by bit. In this particular video, I'm gonna start in my childhood. I need you to understand where I come from, and then I'll build up until I tell you what is bothering me in terms of family issues. Fine. I was born in Everton. Everton is in Gauteng. The nearest town to Everton is Vereeniging and Vanderbilt Park. That's where I grew up. Those who know Everton, I was born in Parktown in a street called Max Road. That's where I was born. And I grew up there for the first 12 years of my life. Personally, my life was fulfilled, except for I did grow up in a home where I witnessed gender-based violence. My father was very violent towards my mom, and because I am the first of 4 kids and I'm the oldest and the only girl in that family, I used to witness a lot of that due to my age, because I grew up. By the time I was 12 years, I was fully aware of what was happening in the family. But I would not lie, both my parents to us as children were very supportive and loving. The problem was just with the two of them. And throughout my first 12 years of my life there in Everton, the only discomfort that I remember, it is me getting close to being raped at the age of 5, 6, while I was in grade 1, what is called now grade 1. At that time, it was called substandard A. I will get to that one day when I have time. Now, when I'm 12 years old, there are now 4 of us siblings in the family. My parents split. I remember this very, very vividly because I remember my father had been talking a lot about chasing my mom. He was adamant that my mom should leave. Their problems, or their problem was stemming from the religion. They were both Jehovah's Witnesses as we were born. And at that time, my father had a problem because if you know Everton, it was Everton is like plots. The yards, they are big. So my father used to live at his parents' place. We used to live at my parents' place. In other words, my grandparents' place. They used to say to my father, since he was the first of, not the first, he was the last born of the 3 boys. They were all 10 at home, but the boys alone were 3, and he was the youngest of the boys. My grandfather used to promise him that big stand will be his. Therefore, he shouldn't go and look for his own place, because now he's going to inherit this yard. That's how we got to spend 12 years at our grandparents' place, because now my father has been promised that he's going to inherit that place since he was there. The youngest of the boys and the oldest boy was in Lesotho, and the second brother of his was forever in jail. He was in and out of jail during those times. Fine. So we stay there. We don't have the place that is our own. When I am 12 years old, my grandfather passes away, and my uncle from Lesotho comes. He came first, and then my grandfather passed away after he was already there. Then the fight started. It only appeared after my grandfather had passed that he was also promising the one that was in Lesotho that you should come back from Lesotho there. This is your place. So my grandfather was causing conflict between his children, because he was telling the one in Lesotho when he comes and visit once in that while that you must come back from Lesotho, because now this place here is all yours as the oldest son. Then he tells this younger one, who is my father, that, hey, you need to stay here and not go anywhere, because you are the son, you're going to inherit this. And as you can see, your brothers are not here. I'm entrusting this place with you. Then he goes and dies. Then it appears that the two of them now are eyeing the same place as their own. The oldest, coming from Lesotho, had been told that please come back, this place is your own. The one that is here had been told, don't go anywhere, this place is your own. Now when their father passed away, it was now survival of the fittest. Who's the fittest? Who will get this yard? And they saw no fit to share. You know the Gugiti thing? I've seen it live. This Gugiti of Mojalav, I've seen it live in my life, because my father and my uncle, not counting the one that was in and out of jail, that one I'm not going to count, because I've never heard him trying to claim anything, shame. But these two fought tooth and nail for this yard, to a point where my father decided, with the advice of one of the aunts, to go and try Lechanyani, ZCC. He was told that ZCC can help him gain this yard on his side so that it becomes his. He can win it. They even said to him, promised him, that my uncle will give him on a silver platter. He will give the site to him on a silver platter. That was said because they discovered after my parents, their father passed away, that actually somehow this older brother that's coming from Lesotho has rights to this site. Yet he did not share the same surname as them. He was using Moleko's surname. They were using Motweneng's surname. My grandfather was Motweneng. This uncle of mine, when he grew up, when he took ID for the first time, he called himself, he assumed the surname Moleko. No one knew where he got that surname, but he chose that surname. He was carrying that surname. But he managed to get this site from Motweneng to himself. Not even the other nine children of Motweneng. He got that site himself. Now, when my father realizes that he has gotten this site for himself, he was like, what can I do? Now, the sisters were The sisters, because they had 7 sisters, they were more supportive of my father because they had more of a relationship with him of over the years. Besides them growing up together as children, they spend most of the time with him. Whenever they come here at home, he is here, he's forever here. Whereas the older brother, there was many years that he was in Lesotho, married in Lesotho, ended up with having about 6 or 7 children in Lesotho. So I think they were closer to my father than to him. Now they decided that they were gonna help their brother. So they helped their brother. I won't lie. They were with him all the way. When they have to go to this lawyer, they would go with him. When they have to go to Joburg, I remember that there were times when they had to go to the housing board or whatever. It was that up and down. And then, with all that, the Lesotho guy managed to get the site to himself. Now, my father, instead of him following the legal route with the support of the sisters to claim the yard, now one of the sisters told him about the miracle support and miracle happenings that can happen to him if he goes to the ZCC church. So he went there, promised that he'll get a site on a silver platter. Instead of him getting before I get to that, now he comes, changes from being a Jehovah's Witness to a ZCC church. Now he has a problem. The wife does not understand that. The wife is of the view that let us fight this legally. Let's go to each and every lawyer, each and every whatever legal department that we need to safeguard this. You rather share than just now having this guy taking this side. And what is the church gonna do with this? This is a legal matter. No, my father said, you are leaving. Now, here's a problem. Whilst they are busy discussing that, here's the bone of contempt. What they call elders in ZCC Baholo. One of Baholos come to my house. And then whenever he comes there, he mixes water with coffee and then splashes it everywhere in the house. You know, Barbafoka, he did that. Now, that was the most disgusting thing for my mom to take. Even myself, I remember I was 12 years when this happens. My mom is a neat freak, ne? So it so happened that now she has to deal with a person that will come and just splash water with coffee everywhere in the house. So to bring the good luck that is needed for my uncle to serve my father with the papers of the title deed of the yard, of the Everton yard. And my father or my mom now was against this because she hated what was happening. And man, things started happening. My father would be told, you know what they call the dialogue. Some of the dialogue, he was supposed to take urine, and instead of going to the bathroom, he was supposed to urinate in a bucket and then take that urine and go and splash it at the gate where everyone is coming in the morning. In the morning, he has to go every morning just before sunrise. He has to go and splash it at the gate. Now my mom was like, this thing is like witchcraft. What is it that you are doing? Because of that, they ended up fighting, and my father was like, you are disturbing me, please leave. I remember that it was the fight of leave. But my mom, as I grew up, she said it lasted about 2 weeks. The scenario of my father chasing my mom away. But I just remember that one night he said it calmly to my mom that if I ever find you here tomorrow, ho tlo tswa stopo. Like if I ever find you here again tomorrow, there will be a cops coming out of this house. And I remember begging my mom, myself, that mama, because I felt like he meant it. That day, I cannot, those words are not coming out of my mind even now. They are actually the scariest thing I have ever experienced my father saying to my mom in my whole life. And he said it so calmly, so sternly, he was so adamant, but yet not making noise. And that's what he said. So I even begged my mom that please leave. Let's leave. And then I remember my mom asking him, now that you're chasing me, what should happen to the kids? He said, take them with. They are your children. And guys, my father was such a supportive father, was such a loving father. He was a kind of a father that every Friday when he came home, because he used to earn every Friday, he used to come with a brown envelope every Friday and plastic bags every Friday. And we would run, me and my brothers would run, and to know when he comes there, it was such a nice childhood, I won't lie. Then would grab the plastics from him, come into the house. I remember that he would take out the brown envelope, he would give my mom and tell my mom that I took out this much to buy the groceries. Here's the rest of the money. But on that day, I remember him saying, they are your children. So all of a sudden, we were no longer his children, we were my mom's children. And it became that from then onwards, my mom had to take her kids, and left the two of us, the two oldest, because we were already at school by then. And it was in October when this thing happens. It was in October. So we were to remain just until December. I remember my mom begging him to say, can these children please stay until the year ends? I'll take them just after exams when they get their reports. And my father was like, nope, they cannot be here. And that was the end of the loving father I've ever known. And my mom had to go and ask other family of Jehovah's Witnesses to stay with us just throughout the exam times. She was gonna fetch us after, and she did that. While we were there with that family, my father never bothered to come and see if we are okay there. Man, it was the end of my father the way I knew him. It was the end. Then life started being hard. My mom fetched us and took us to her parents' home in Paris. That's how I got to spend some of my youth in Paris. And from there, my mom came back this side to get some job, which she did, and then she rented a place right there in Everton, but at a different section of Everton now. Then that's when she fetched the two of us, the ones that are at school. She fetched us to stay with her there. And the two younger brothers who were not in school yet remained in Paris with my grandparents on my mom's side. Now, when we were there, we remembered we know our home, and we saw our mom struggle. And then I would take my brother, and we would go. We would go to him and ask for money for school fees, money for what, money for this, money for that. At first, he gave us something when we were there. I think maybe once or twice. But from then onwards, he became hostile. Because now, he ended up with a ZCC wife. He had shortly after my mom left, he had a new wife that was in the ZCC church with him, sorry. And then things changed for us. He was like, he has his own family now. He cannot feed us and his new family. Shortly after that, he passed on to another wife. Then he was on wife number 2. Worst part is now this wife number 2. Still, she was in the ZCC as well. She had about 10 children. And the last 2 were my father's. The last 2 were my father's children. It was twins, a boy and a girl. I don't know where they are till now. I'm still looking for them as well. Because he later passed on to another wife as well later on and left them. Now let us talk about this wife that had 10 kids, 2 of them being my father's. One of the children of this woman was in my class, was my classmate. You know, I would feel so sad when I'm at school, I don't have anything to eat. And here is this boy that was my father's stepchild, and he used to have food to eat. He used to have money. He used to carry money. You know, we used to call it carry. He had it. I didn't. We were in the same class. Each time I think about that, it destroys me. It just kills me. That how can? And I would try and, go to him, and we would go to him with my brother, and he would tell us, no, he has a big family. He's talking about the family that is not his. And then he would point these 2 children, two babies. You know, I even hated those babies for things that they had no control over. Because now, he was like, these are the children that need money. By this time, I remember I was 16 years old. He told me point blank that I am old. He said, you are 16, you are old. Leave school and go to work. Leave school and go to work and help your mother. You are here busy telling me how your mother is struggling, yet you are 16 years old. Don't you have an ID? You should be taking an ID. If you qualify for an ID, you qualify for work. Go work and stop bothering me and pestering me. I've got these babies. That time I remember those children were starting to walk. They were at crawling stage but starting to work. So they could be less than a year, a little bit less than a year. And he was like to me, these are the children and the babies that deserve my attention, and I'm waiting for them. You are too old. Go work for for helping your mother and your siblings. He told me that he started working when he was 12. Me at 16, I'm too old. If he could start at 12 working, I should be long working. You know, I've never cried like that. That is another thing that destroyed me. It just, I could not forgive him for the longest of time because of those words. And then he threatened me that he was gonna go to my school, and tell the principal that I should be taken out of the school books. I believed him. I cried. I begged him and said, please don't go. Please don't go. I even had nightmares that week. When I was in class, I could not focus because I just always felt like I could be called to be told that your father is here. We need to take you out of school. I'm 16. I'm only a child. So I believed him. I processed that on a capacity of a child's mind. I believed that he could do it. Where would I be if I had listened to him? I'm so grateful to my mother, because she was like, that can never happen. Because I remember at one stage, I thought, what if actually it's the right thing to do? And my mom was like, never, as long as I live, that cannot happen. And I feel like I cannot continue with this story for now. But I promise that I'll take it forward when I have the strength. It is just far too much for me, because it's not every day that I'm opening up about this. I'm 49 right now, but it still hurts. It still hurts. And it hurts because the effects that are still happening now, that are stemming from all those things, and that are a continuation of the hurt that he caused. He died. He's not here anymore right now, but he is even beyond the grave, finding a way to come and hurt me, come and hurt us as a family. He still has the energy from beyond the grave to hurt me and my siblings. I'm sorry about that. I'll carry on later again.